All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Every Which Way podcast. For those of you who are new and may not know, my name is Dana, and I've been a witch and a practitioner of witchcraft since I was around 13, 14. And I'm also a nerd. And I love cats. I have 3, and I love tea. And today I am drinking the green tea Japanese Genmaicha that I bought off of the Dollar Tea Club. I highly recommend it. So for $8 a month, what they do is they will send you little packets of different teas every month, and they will also send you, I'm getting distracted. They will also include little disposable tea bags. And each of those little packets is 3 different kinds of tea. And each pack is roughly 3 to 5 cups worth of tea. And this one that I'm drinking was in one of those packs, and I loved it so much that I actually bought larger amounts. Yeah, it's not just a subscription. For the one that I do, it's $8 a month for those 3 different teas. But you can also buy bigger, larger quantities of the teas that you like off of there. And it's pretty cool. I highly recommend checking them out. Once again, it is the Dollar Tea Club. Right now I've got some Nag Champa incense going. I was feeling the Nag Champa today. And I have my little candle. I did a little prosperity spell not too long ago, and I've got that going. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty good actually. It's a brand new year. It's the year of abundance, and in numerology, this is the number 8 year, and my one friend and the lovely facilitator of the Wild Women's Circles at Sacred Moon Circle Apothecary, Danielle, she says that the 8 number is about abundance and all of that good jazz. So I highly recommend her. She's wonderful. Danielle, if you're listening, hey girl, hey. But yeah, so, well, how are you guys doing? Did you have a nice New Year's? I did take that week off. It was very, very nice. I just needed that little bit of a break to kind of recenter myself. So I hope you guys don't mind that I did that. But seeing as how it was kind of close to the holidays, I was feeling a little burnt out. I kind of needed that little break. And I think that's what I'll be doing going forward. The last week of the year, I'll just take that week off, or somewhere around there. I'll take that off. I'll let you guys know when I do that. That's what I'm ultimately getting to. I'll let you guys know when I do that. But yeah, I made a TikTok. It's my partner Don. He's had one for quite some time, and I would mooch off of his whenever he would have it up and watch like cat videos, because I love cats. So I just broke down and made myself one. The username or handle or whatever you call it is Witch of the Gathering, and I do daily reads on there with my different tarot and oracle decks, and I sometimes post cat videos and other kind of videos. So if you guys wouldn't mind just hitting me up on there and give me a follow, I greatly appreciate it. But anyway, getting back, how are you guys doing? How have you guys been? What are you drinking right now? Did you have yourself a snack? Have you been taking care of yourself? You've been drinking water? Have you? I hope you have. Take care of yourself. It's very important to take care of yourself. I know that in today's day and age it's kind of hard, what with the price of everything and the world having been on fire for the past 4 years because of the panini and all that good jazz. Panini is my word for the pandemic, by the way. I heard it on a different podcast, I forget which, and ever since then it stuck. So yeah. But yeah, today when I'm recording this, it is Sunday evening, and we had a new moon circle at Sacred Moon Circle Apothecary, and that was wonderful. I always really enjoy those circles. Like whenever I'm feeling down or burnt out or just in need of a lift, like a spiritual lift, or just lifting my own spirits up, going to one of those circles has helped tremendously. It's really wonderful to finally find and have a community of women who genuinely care and support other women. I feel like it's something that we've lacked for quite some time in our society, and it's just nice to have, even in this small corner of the world in South Central Pennsylvania in the US of A. But okay, I just yammered on to you for like 6 minutes about how I'm doing all that stuff, and but what am I talking about today? Well, if you guys hear some shuffling, I am shuffling tarot cards. I made, okay, so listen, okay, before we get on to the topic, okay, listen. Are you guys listening? Okay, good, listen. So I don't really like New Year's resolutions because I feel like they're kind of cheap and like it's expected of one to have New Year's resolutions, and it's just they fizzle out after like a couple months into the new year, and then you forget about them and they're not a thing anymore. And I don't like that. So I made myself goals for the year. And I've made a couple of them, but the one, since I told you that I had tarot cards in my hand, is to every day, whenever I do my daily reading, to do one with a different deck that I haven't done before, or one that I haven't used in a while, and just go through them and rotate through all of my decks, which I don't think I have that many. Here, let me do a quick, pardon me, let me do a quick count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. I have 22. Not counting my T fortune cards, because I don't really count them because they're a little different and how they do them is a little different. So I have like 22 decks. That's not a lot, is it? I hope that's not a lot, because I don't really plan on getting rid of any more of them anytime soon. I did have like a couple, and there's still one sitting on my little chaise lounge in here that I do plan on donating to the card play day at Sacred Moon whenever the next one is up. But aside from that, I plan on using all of them. So yeah. Okay, back to what I was trying to get to a minute or two ago. And that is, what am I talking about today? Well, during my week break, I was kind of mulling around in my head a couple topics that I do want to touch upon. And the one that I really wanted to do that with was crystal grids. So that's what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about crystal grids and all that good jazz, which I think that I've never done a crystal grid before myself personally, but I have like a ton of crystals, and I usually just, how I do them is I kind of look up the crystal that excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay, what just happened was I did a little burp and then it morphed into a yawn. And that's just, I'm not editing that out because I don't do that. I mean, I feel like you guys should kind of listen to me, make a bit of a butt or full of myself. But anyway, I take a crystal and I kind of look up, its properties and what it's often used for. And then I hold it after I cleanse it, of course, I hold it in my hand and I program it for what specific thing I want to do. So for example, I have a clear quartz, and clear quartz is a very versatile crystal. It can pretty much be used for darn near everything. But I have one specifically that I charge to help with my anxiety. And I wear that mostly at work because during the time when I got it, I was going through a really awful patch at work. Thankfully, now everything is going really well, and the position that I have at my job is a lot better than what I did have. But I still use it. But that one I use specifically for like my anxiety. So I feel like I really need to like cleanse it, get some of the gunk out of it, and then like recharge it. I feel like I should do that. Anyway, but I've never actually done a crystal grid. And I have a little book about them. The book I have is called The Crystal Grids Handbook. Use the Power of the Stones for Healing and Manifestation by Judy Hall. And this is I got it at Sacred Moon. Like most of the things I have, I got at Sacred Moon. And this is actually, I did a good chunk of my research from this book. And it's not too thick. It's got around 170 pages. But they do go into good detail. It does go into good detail, and it has a lot of good examples and pictures, and it's a good read. So I do recommend, if you're picking that up, if you're curious about crystal grids, pick up this book after you listen to this episode, of course. So let's get right into it. So crystal grids. Well, what is a crystal grid? Well, it's a shape made of crystals that amplify each other to help manifest something in a person's life. So it can be any geometric shape, and the grid itself is the process of creating. Gridding itself is the process of creating and using a grid. So each type of grid shape, pattern, design has specific energy points connected by invisible lines of energy. Now, these can be connected through the feng shui bagua, or energy map, via sacred geometrical shapes, or they can be created by the person making the grid. So, what did I just say right there? Well, there are kind of three different bases, I guess, of grids. So think of it, okay, this is the analogy that popped into my head, so we're going to roll with it, okay? So think of the feng shui bagua, the sacred geometrical shapes, and the do-it-yourselves as Neapolitan. One's chocolate, one's vanilla, one's strawberry. They're all ice cream, but they're just different flavors. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right. So when doing a crystal grid, you're going to want to add rocks, minerals, and crystals that aid in enhancing what you want to manifest. So the type of grid, the chocolate, the vanilla, the strawberry, and the intention for that particular grid are what determine what to use as far as like crystals and coloring and the shape and the size and where your supplies are going to be placed on that grid. So while crystal healing and using crystals and rocks and stones and minerals has been around for a long, long time, the exact origin of where crystal grids came from is kind of foggy. A lot of scholars and scientists believe that crystal grids stemmed from ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt around 2000 BCE, mainly via sacred geometry. And others believe that they were created in Atlantis. And I'm not gonna lie, that when I first read that, by the way, that is not in the book that I referenced earlier, I kind of laughed out loud. So I literally wrote, some believe crystal grids were created in Atlantis, but that's a little sus. So yeah, top quality research here. All right, so let's get into those different flavors. Okay, so first up, we have the Feng Shui Bagua. So this is one of the oldest types of grids. They are typically rectangular or octagonal, and it's comprised of 8 outer sections surrounding a central section. It literally translates to energy map. Yep, energy map. I had to check. And as such, it's a map or guide of one's home, property, or business, with each of the 8 sections linked to a certain area of life. So within this feng shui thing, the 8 sections are wealth and prosperity, health and family, knowledge and self-cultivation, love and marriage, creativity and children, helpful people and travel, fame and reputation, and career. So pretty much this kind of grid is it is used for that, and typically for those who practice feng shui. Now, going on to the second one, sacred geometry. It is repeating patterns found throughout nature, or the archetypal structure of life. The shapes are believed to have special meanings, and there's more flexibility to using the patterns, whereas the Feng Shui Bagua is more structurally either one way or the other. Again, the rectangle or the octagon with those 8 different corresponding sections. This has a little bit more flexibility. And experts advise to follow intuition. So if you are drawn to a certain shape, use that shape as the basis for your grid. And third, the do-it-yourself grids is a grid created by someone based on their own wants and needs. So that one's pretty simple, not a whole lot of sustenance. So moving on from there, we have 10 basic shapes which can be interlocked with other shapes when using sacred geometry or do-it-yourself grids. Like I said a minute ago, the Feng Shui is usually that rectangular octagon, so these 10 basic shapes kind of covered sacred geometry and do-it-yourselves. Okay, so the first one I have is the circle, and that typically represents unity, completion, protection, boundary, initiation, and healing. Following the circle, we have the triangle, which is protection, manifestation, creation, and integration. Number 3 is square, and that means consolidation, stability, strength, and protection. Number 4 is the spiral. So the spiral I really like because it's drawing in energy, it's vortex energy, and it's radiating and releasing energy. And I really like that. I often see it on like little goddess statues or stuff like that, usually around the stomach or womb area. And that's part of the reason why I like that. Following the spiral, we have the pyramid. And the pyramid typically means creation, rebirth, out-of-body journeying. Next up, we have the pentagon, which stands for stability, clearing, completeness, and the elements. So earth, air, fire, water. After that, we have the pentacle, which is the 5-pointed star. And that is drawing down energy, magical protection, and connecting the elements. Next up, we have the hexagram, which is used mainly for protection, energy balancing, consolidation, uniting heart and mind, as well as above and below. After that, we have the sphere, which stands for encompassing all and inherently unstable. And after that, we have the cube, which is limiting and delineating, that means just describing something on point or very precisely. And that one is inherently stable. Okay? So those are the 10 kind of basic shapes which can be kind of interlocked with other shapes to make a grid. I hope that makes sense. All right. So with grids, so hold up, back up. Rewind. So kind of moving on to the crystal portion of it that you want to use with your grid, both color and shape, and that is internal and external color and shape, need to be taken into consideration here to use whenever you use them. Keep in mind that the crystal's lattice system it belongs to, which is kind of the inside bone structure. So like comparing crystals to humans, that would be their skeletal frame. That the lattice system that a crystal belongs to dictates how a crystal channels energy. Whereas the external shape, so like the actual body that we see with our eyeballs, helps direct which way the energy flows through it. And that's kind of why you want to be, another little burp. That's why you want to be considerate and think carefully whenever you're choosing your crystals. However, choosing the crystals is ultimately up to the person, but there are usually two main ways to go about it, intuitively and logically. By focusing on your intention for what you're trying to do with your grid and for the particular crystal or the intention and the purpose, run your fingers through your collection of crystals. Or if you're out buying one, over a basket or over the little tubs in the store that you find, and whichever one sticks out to you or feels right, that's the one that you want to choose. However, if you're going about logically, it's more of choosing a crystal with a specific color, shape, and the actual grid in mind. All right? So it's very important that you cleanse and charge your crystals prior to using them in the grid. And you can cleanse them a multitude of different ways. With water is usually the easiest and most often used way to cleanse just about anything. But you're going to want to be careful here because, like I've stated a couple of times, crystals that typically end in ITE are easier to kind of dissolve or disintegrate when exposed to water for extended periods of time. And those, you want to move on to the second, I think, in my opinion, the second most popular way to cleanse, which is smoke cleansing. But you can also cleanse them. There are some self-cleansing crystals, and you can lay your chosen crystals for your grid around those. You can lay them out in the sun or the moon. As far as charging them, you can also lay them out in the sun and the moon to collect those energies. You could literally charge them with your own energy. But when you're doing that, make sure you have your clear intention in mind. And yeah. So, how do you go about setting up a grid? Well, first, you're going to want to kind of choose however many crystals that your grid dictates. So, going to the book, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a simple little pattern. Okay, so for this one that I just turned the page to, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, a maximum of 10 crystals altogether, okay? So you're going to want to choose however many that the grid that you're using needs. And they should all be roughly around the same size. Now, they don't have to, but typically you're going to want them to be. This does not include the keystone. Now, the keystone is the crystal that symbolizes the source of life and is 9 times out of 10 set in the center of the grid itself. So kind of like the very heart of it. And typically, clear quartz is the most popular choice for these kind of keystones. You're going to want to then empower your crystals with your intention and restate it, and be sure to restate your intention when laying them on the grid. Following up, you're going to want to choose a location that best aligns with your intention as well as the grid template. Okay? You're going to want to align your grid with the magnetic points of the compass. Now, what does this mean? So earlier in it means depending on what you want to manifest, you're going to kind of want to have the starting point being in either north, south, east, or west, or above or below. Now, north typically is the representation of knowledge, restructuring, and calming discord. South, cleansing, flowing, and activity. East, conception, to remove strife and to motivate new projects. West is for letting go, clearing, growth, renewal, and birth. Above, cosmic energy and light, also energizing and the divine masculine. And finally, below, earthing, grounding, nurturing, and the divine feminine. So depending on what you want to manifest, so let's say that you want to manifest, let's say that you've been working on a project, but you just haven't really had the motivation or the want to actually really focus on it. Well, aligning your grid with the direction of east would help further enhance your grid's actual power. Okay? So that's what it means. What I meant when I said align your grid with the magnetic points of the compass. Okay. After you've done that, you're going to want to set your keystone, and this one, again, usually larger than the other stones, in the center of your grid. Then you're going to want to take some anchor or perimeter stones, and these are not stones that are actually going to be laid on the lines, the invisible lines of the grid. These are stones that help keep the grid centered and grounded, as well as keep the energy in place for the grid. All right. So once you've chosen the location and the place and the time, and let's say that you're also like choosing a specific color and material to lay your grid down on. And after you've done that, what do you want to do? Well, you're going to want to cleanse your space, gather your crystals, and then cleanse them. Okay? This is when you're going to hold your crystals and state your intention. All right? After that, you're going to align your crystals on the grid correctly. And finally, you're going to want to join the points in order to activate the grid. And this can be done either using a wand, like an actual wand, like I have a little wooden wand, or even a selenite wand, some kind of wand, or even your fingertip or your mind. Please note that if you are drawing energy in, position the outermost crystals first. But if your grid's purpose is to radiate energy or put that out there, you're going to want to place the keystone first. I hope that makes sense. So you've done that. Now what's left to do? Well, once you've put your crystals down, you've set up your grid, you're good to go. It's really that simple. You're going to want to check in with your grid regularly, but you don't want to do it too much. So you don't want to check in every 5. So however often that you check in kind of determines what's being used for. So if you're doing one for protection, maybe check in once a day. But if you're doing one for, like, say you've done one for outside. Oh, by the way, these can be done either inside or outside. It just depends on what the intention of this grid is to do. But if you're doing one for outside, say you're doing one for a garden or something like that to help things grow, maybe check on that like once a week. All right. So to keep your grid active, you're going to want to restate your intention, cleanse your crystals if you need to, and add or remove crystals if you feel like it's necessary. Now, don't interfere too much with your grid or it won't really get the chance to work. And this is part of the reason why you don't really want to overly check on your grid, because these things need time to work. All right. It's not just going to be like you lay your grid down and bam, you're protected, or bam, your vegetables grow or something like that. This needs time, kind of like medicine or kind of like anything else that you really want to manifest and put out there. All right. Once your grid has served its purpose, you can go ahead and dismantle it. Be sure to thoroughly cleanse your crystals and hold them. Thank them for their work, and then close off their energy sources until you need those crystals again. Then you're going to want to clear and cleanse the space. All right. And, the last thing I have in my notes is that these grids can also be used to align or support your chakras. Yeah. But that's pretty much crystal grids in a nutshell. I know it's really not that difficult when you think about it, and there are plenty of grid templates and stuff for you to use. Like when doing research for this, I came up with literally hundreds on Pinterest, on Google, anywhere. So these aren't things that you're not going to find. If you just type in crystal grids, I promise you will find one. All right, so let's go on to our drawing. All right, we're going to do this. I am using Monica Bodersky, her Shadowland Tarot, and I got this originally because the artwork reminded me of something Tim Burton would draw. And these are little cards. They have two little bats on the backs of them, and they're really adorable. So let me do another quick little shuffle here. All right. Okay. Let's see what we got. Ooh. We got the King of Cups. And it's so cute because it's literally like a nautilus. Like the person's head is literally a nautilus. And it's just walking on the beach with its little briefcase, and it's adorable. All right. So, the king is deep in thought as he strolls along the ocean side enjoying his free time. He represents a mature, male-identified person generally lost in thoughts. The message. This king represents a person who is mature and has learned how to balance both intellect and emotion through experience. Generally a stable personality, not given to extreme emotions, he can be quite guarded with feelings and shy at times, preferring books over people. And I don't blame him on that. I too prefer books over people. He is calm and creative, even when stressed, and if this king has shown up, he could be asking you to do the same in a current situation. By contemplating and stepping back for a moment, there is a better chance for you to be objective and mature about your actions and reactions. You are being asked to take the proverbial high road and not get pulled into drama. A very good advisor or mentor, he is encouraging you to be patient with the multitude of questions and suggestions coming your way. You are ready to teach, or you are already good at explaining and educating others. The archetype of a bit of an absent-minded university professor applies to this king. It will be important for you to apply this lesson of diplomacy when judging situations or others who hold differing points of view. Those who identify with this king are often humanitarians or philanthropists. Try not to be too detached from your own life that you are cut off from others. Instead, spend time being emotionally available. Take a moment to examine any cold or distant father figures you may have encountered in your life, and examine the effects this may have had on your emotional development. Physically, the King of Cups is asking you to ensure you are not suffering from high blood pressure, digestive issues, or headaches from withheld emotions. In matters of love, if you are in a relationship, this king is steady, even if at times distant. If you are single and wish to be in a relationship, this card indicates that your independence and aloofness will attract someone shortly. In finances, you are in such tight control of your funds that you may wish to exhale and enjoy some of your earnings while you still can. And that's all she wrote. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy, busy day to listen to me talk at you about crystal grids. I hope that you enjoyed the episode. I really do. And I also hope that you'll be so kind as to share this podcast around with your friends, your loved ones, whoever else you want to, that you think would like it. Even freaking Denise down the hall, who never stops gossiping because she is such a gossiper. God damn it, Denise. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. That was just a joke, I swear. But yeah, if you could share this around, I would greatly appreciate it. Truly, I would. All right, that wraps up this episode of the Every Which Way podcast. I will see you guys next time. If you would be so kind as to check out my TikTok, once again, Witch of the Gathering. Also, I do have an email if you want to email me for whatever reason. It is everywhичwaypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you once more. I hope that you all have a marvelously magical Monday, and I will see you, witches, in the next episode. Bye-bye now.